Well, welcome to Eastlink TV, Rimshots with Sean. We have a special edition tonight. We had asked Miss Michelle Ryder to come on the show, and she decided that she wanted to come on with her entire band. So from top to bottom, we'll go bottom to top. We have Miss Michelle Ryder, we have Mr. Peter Delmont, we have Mr. Darren Wadd, Mr. Ian Fancy, Mr. Mark Horton, and of course your host Sean. So welcome all.
Hey,
Thank you.
So this will be a fun one to feng shui what we're going to do. So Michelle, we'll start with you. So obviously for the show we wanted to have just as many guys as girls, and when you were asked, the first thing you said is that you wanted to have your entire band on there. Why is that?
Because we're a unit. None of us are making all of this by ourselves. This is a team effort and has been since inception. I couldn't do any of this without these guys.
Well, there you go. So what do you think about that, fellas?
awesome!
Wow.
Rocket. So this is Deep Purple had Mach 1, Mach 2, Mach 3. This is probably Mach 4 of this band, and we've been blessed to have some great people in the lineup, but this band right here is kind of really firing in all cylinders. I mean, it's doing some material that you're not going to hear at the bars. It's really starting to become a show band. I'll throw it out to Mark first, because Mark, that was really your kind of idea. You and I talked about it and was like, oh my God, not another wagon wheel, not another, right?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone, you can see anyone play wagon wheel, 7 nights a week anywhere, but not everyone is going to hear people playing Triumph songs and Def Leppard songs and Styx songs. It's not what you hear. It's more fun for me personally.
Right.
That's just sort of a greed aspect. I wanted to play harder, more enjoyable songs for myself.
Yeah.
And it just, everyone else seems to enjoy it as well. So
yeah, and I mean, I'll mention Mr. Wadden he's the lone holdover from the original Side Hustle lineup.
And three. There's still three of us.
Yeah. But I mean, way back when this little outing was kind of started as I called it my side hustle, because I was in a band that was playing a lot, and then somebody decided they wanted to do some solo stuff, and so it took a while to get going. But Darren, you kind of came in a little bit after the fact, because it was myself and Dave McKeegan and Ian. So I guess talk about, because of everybody, you're probably the chillest member of the band. So just talk a little bit about how it's been for you and what's been going on.
Oh man, well, I mean, it's been a lot of fun to start, right? I mean, the whole crew is a bunch of fantastic musicians, and I mean, Michelle can sing anything, right? So it's great that we can do pretty much anything, right? That we can do guy songs that no other guys can sing, and we can do girl songs that not a whole lot of girls can sing. So I mean, for me, this is just awesome. I played the wagon wheel stuff, and so I mean, this is challenging stuff. The stuff we do is not easy, right? These Styx tunes and Foreigner tunes and stuff's not easy, but it feels really good when you get them down and you nail them. So it's a lot of fun for me.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because and Pete, I'll turn it over to you, because there's nights where I'll go to rehearsal and I'm kind of sitting there twiddling my thumbs, because you guys are working on the vocals. And I mean, when this band plays, it's you guys singing. There's no tracks. It's you guys singing. Talk a bit about that, Pete, because you carry a pretty big brick in some of this vocal stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, we pride ourselves on that. Like, always have. Like, no track, nothing helping. That was always my pet peeve of some of the bands coming up in the late 80s and 90s, and drummers running around the stage, moving around more than the bass player and the singer. Not to point any fingers at that band, but
it wasn't a band I was in, so just get that straight.
No, but that's what we do, and that's part of the fun. Like we can all sing, so we're in the basement and we're working out the harmonies. You do this, you do that, we will do this, and it sounds great. And people see it live and they're like, wow, they can actually pull that stuff off, because Def Leppard harmonies, Styx harmonies, Triumph harmonies, there's a lot going on there, and we're able to do it. It's awesome.
I had to laugh because we played the Ale House a few weeks ago, and we finished, I think it was Foolin' by Def Leppard, and some guy came up and asked for a certain song. Mark's line was, we just played a song that was really hard, that was Foolin', right? And I thought about it, and it's like, yeah, it's like, it's not an easy song to do, right?
No.
No, it's hard.
It's hard. So now we'll work Mr. Fancy into the mix before we open things up, because I mean, so for anybody that doesn't know, Peter, Ian, and I years ago were little high school snot-nosed kids that played in a band called China White, and then through the course of whatever, we all went our separate ways. But here we are, almost 35 years later. Maybe a little smarter, just as good looking, but here we are. Ian comes into the band. We had a need and asked him, and he had to deal with some stuff, but here you are, man. And you're bringing, again, another element. You were a lead singer in a band for a number of years, and you've always been a solid bass player. So how's it been for you?
A ton of fun. Great to connect with you guys again, and very liberating to play in a band that can pretty much do anything. Like, everything's there. Two great guitar players, solid rhythm section. Well, and I join you.
Whatever.
And Darren does his thing. Sounds are awesome. Keys are great. Michelle's vocals are very uninhibiting. You can do whatever. Everybody sings except for yourself. So you got 5 people that can throw in harmonies and work that out too. I sang lead for a little while. That was sobering, to say the least. But really, I'm trying to find a spot to sing because everything's covered so well vocally right now. So, everything's there. Usually, and you guys all know that yourself, I've been in many bands where not everything's there, or the keys are missing, and you're doing kind of a 3/4 version of it. And this isn't that band. This is the band that gets to cover it all with all the right parts and all the right vocals. Mm-hmm. Everything's in there. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
So I got about a minute left in the segment, and hey, it's going to go quick with this many people on it, but it's going to be fun. So Michelle, I'll put it over to you. So obviously, Sounds of Motown, you were doing your own band, you were doing a bunch of different things, and then the rock thing comes up, and you've addressed it before. What is it about this music that like you like to do?
I find that music now, and I hate to sound like the old lady who says, why don't they make good music anymore? But the stuff we listened to when we were in high school in the 80s, it told stories, it had stories to it, and I just, it was all I listened to in high school. I just never dreamed that I would actually be singing it till some long-haired drummer come along and said, you're going to sing rock and you're going to kill it.
There you go. Whoever he is, he's a smart guy. Look, we're gonna step away. We're gonna pay some bills here on Eastlink Community TV. We'll be back after this. Well, hey folks, welcome back to Rimshots with Sean here on Eastlink Community TV. So we had just finished up the last segment with Michelle, and so one of the things, and we've talked to all you guys about it. So we're working on some tunes for some stuff. One of the things on Michelle's bucket list has always been to put her own thing out. And we're going to get to that point. You did it before with some other guys that I was playing with, Michelle, but what do you think it's going to be like with this lineup to get out there and start knocking some stuff around?
Oh, I can't wait. Are you kidding? There's Ian hit it on the head. There's no limitations. There's nothing that you guys can't play. And it fills me with a ton of creative confidence. I know I could dream up and think about anything that I could possibly imagine, and you guys could do it probably better than what I imagined. So I have the only concern I have at all is talking to younger people who are trying to get a band together, and they're like, I said, go down to Dan's Jam at Monty's and meet some people, and he's like, you've got them all. I do. I have the best of the best, and I'm grateful for it every day.
Well, and the interesting thing is, before this kind of version got together, Darren was around, we were knocking a few ideas around, but it kind of hit pause for some different reasons. But when I started talking to these guys again, Mark automatically, oh man, I get this idea, and he sent it, and Peter had some ideas, and Ian and Peter and I remember, what did we have? Upwards of 20 or 25 original songs when we were in high school. It was crazy. Pete, you're probably the biggest rock guy of us all, I would say. So if you get in the studio, start writing some stuff, what are some of the what do you want to hear? What do you think you want to hear take place?
Well, to me, it's always guitar riffs, but lots of vocals, backup vocals. That's the stuff I grew up on. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's harmonies and people playing music. So and on the heavier side, but also some lighter stuff. I've gotten older, but I'm still the heavy guy.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm the same way. I like what I like, and everybody knows that. Actually, I thought I was bad until I got around Peter again, and it's like, no, there's Peter with that, then there's me. So that's great. I guess I'll throw it over to Darren. I keep going around the horn here, but Darren, you're in a number of bands before, and you brought a couple of things in, but has it been a while since you've written, or I know you practice a lot. Do you write on a regular basis? I've never asked you this.
So I write a bunch of little pieces of things, right? That's what I said before. Like, you want a sappy piano tune? Sure. Like you said there, hey, bring it. So here you go. The next day you got this. So yeah, I struggle with lyrics, but musically, I mean, I'm always playing around with stuff. Now, mostly, of course, it's on the piano. I try to do some things that maybe are that can be built into something a little heavier. But a lot of times, unfortunately, like I said, it's you want a sappy piano tune, I can bounce one of those off you pretty quick. But I like working with other people where you get inspiration off each other. Like years ago when I was in high school, we started just jamming some stuff, and all of a sudden create a couple of songs in a couple of hours, right? Just because everybody has an idea, and when you get that happening, someone will say, "Hey, how about this? Why don't we try this? What about this?" And you maybe don't think about it by yourself, right? So it's that collaboration that's really cool for me. So
that's the best way. Because my phone is full of 30-second riffs.
Yeah, I got about 20.
And then it's just like, okay, now it's time to get together, and it's like, okay, here's a riff. Where can it go?
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember when we were in high school, it was like we used to figure out 5 cover tunes and then 1 original tune for every practice, and that's probably how our set list was like this. It was pretty crazy, but so when I kick it over to Mark, so Mark's got the dubious distinction of not only being a guitar player, but Mark's a very, very, very experienced live sound tech. He promotes shows, some of the bigger shows that you're seeing around here, he does. So, Mark, where do you find the time to do it? I know what we talked before during COVID, you practice a lot, but do you still get the time to do as much of the other stuff as you like?
Not as much since everything opened back up, but I do, like, every night. I watch TV and play guitar and write something or practice something. It's just, I've done it since I was 12 years old, just sitting there playing guitar. So it's hard to not do it. I always have a guitar close by, I'm either working on it or practicing on it.
I know Ian's the same way, because I'll be up on Wednesday night at like 12:30, and I'm getting texts from Ian about different sorts of things. And on the one hand, I'm going, "What the hell are you doing up? You got to go to work tomorrow." But
no, it's a curse.
Well, you're constantly been in the wood, though, right? That sounds like a bad term, but you're constantly practicing.
Well, yes. I mean, I didn't play a lot at all during COVID. I kind of went the other way. I was kind of like, meh, there's nothing to do this for right now, so I just didn't. So when I started playing again with Razorboy and then with you guys, it kind of gave me new life. It kind of gave me a reason to sit there and noodle around again. And I'm the same way. If I'm not learning a song, I'm usually just sitting on the couch playing scales or whatever, practicing something to hand strengthening exercises or something, just to unconsciously noodle around. But yeah, it's pretty constant for me now. So I'm really enjoying having something to play for again. It's fun.
Well, and I'll be excited to get this group together to do that. And I mean, it's going to happen soon. Obviously, things come up, but we've done a couple of things with Michelle, and Michelle's the type of writer where she comes up with melodies and lyrics, and she knows what she wants, but she doesn't read. But that being said, she can go to one of you guys and say, "Here's what I'm hearing," and put it to you. So, Michelle, how much have you been working on the last bit?
That's I have been writing a lot. The real upside, because I don't physically write out music, and don't really understand music theory. It's bad in that I can't convey what I've got inside my head without just singing it to them. It's good in that I'm not tethered by it. I don't have to follow rules. I can just, whatever's in me, I can get it out. But fortunately, because I have such an incredible group of guys around me, I feel comfortable to just sit there and say, it kind of goes like this, and sing it to them, and they'll just go, oh yeah, no problem, and we're off. So I'm really looking forward to having some collaborative time.
And we're almost done the segment, but I'll share a story with you. So I had somebody who had seen the band. I don't know, it was a while back, and they said it's been a while since they saw a band where it looked like, everybody looked rocky and looked like they were having fun, and somebody that could sing. And I guess what they were saying was to see a band that does more than just kind of tap their toes and wear ball hats was refreshing for them. And that's a compliment to you guys, because everybody shows up A, prepared, which is the first thing, but B, a great attitude, and looking like you're in it to win it, right? Which is a really hard thing sometimes. So hats off to you guys. So on that ass bummy kissy note here, we're going to take a break, pay some bills, and we'll be back. Eastlink Community TV after this. Well, folks, welcome back to Rimshots with Sean on Eastlink Community TV. Hey, we got a podcast too, and go find us on YouTube. It's under Barstools and Bandtalk. Hit subscribe. That's starting to take off, which is great. But enough about me. So we're here with Michelle Ryder and Side Hustle. Darren will remember this because it was back when I think we played the first gig, and it would have been 2 years ago, or almost 3 years ago now, at Monty's. We did that first show, and I remember I was driving over the Magazine Hill, and my phone rings, and it was Dave McKeegan. It was weird because he never called me. I would always call him. And Dave's like, you know what, man? I don't know how you feel about this, but it's got to be called Michelle Ryder and Side Hustle. And I'm like, Dave, I was actually thinking that and figuring out a way to try to tell you guys that. But do you remember when we kind of made that switch and why we made that switch?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was, isn't there another band out west or something that's
called Side Hustle? Yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of just
a few,
a good way. Yeah. Is there a few? Yeah. Well, not surprising. It's a great name, I think, right? In fact, I told some friends that they said, "What's your band name?" I said, Side Hustle. Oh, it's an awesome name. Yeah.
Well, and it was the truth, brother. Let me tell you, it was the truth, because when you go playing, I don't know, 87 shows a year and it gets cut in half, it's like you need a side hustle, right? So, So anyway, so I guess Michelle, got that first single out, which did pretty well. Going to be re-released in a couple weeks, but then we're going to get these young bucks in the studio. A shout out to Mr. Ionetti. Chris Ionetti's giving us a hand, who you guys probably all know. Chris Plotty's another guy. Jeff Hope's another guy. We're very fortunate that we know a lot of talented people that want to help out on this project. What's that mean to you?
It's overwhelming, actually. The sad part is sometimes people get so territorial about what they're doing that they don't want to share and enjoy your successes or what's going on with you. And I've had the exact opposite from people. It's been absolutely amazing. People offering to help record, or if you want to jam some things out, or if you got some ideas you want to, I'm here, that kind of, but, and recording has become more and more accessible in people's homes, and the ones that have done the homework and the research and bought all the toys so that they can do it right are willing to share with people that they think are going to put out a quality product in the end. So we're blessed in that respect. There's no question, because it can be very, very expensive.
Absolutely. Speaking of expensive, I don't know if you guys noticed my contribution to Gene and Paul's kids' college fund there. You're welcome, fellas. But one of the things that I will say that I think is really good is that, part of recording can be a very sterile thing. You can go in and you think you have a bunch of good stuff and you record it. It's like, but, I'm looking around this kind of Brady Bunch thing, and there's an awful lot of people with an awful lot of recording experience. So I guess, Pete, how do you think that's going to bode? Because I personally think with recording, man, if you don't get something quick, and you want to do the Def Leppard 4-year album thing, I think you're running out of steam and creativity, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, you want to get things down quick, but first we have to have things to get down.
Yeah.
But so that's what we need for the time to get together and hash out some ideas, build up some songs, and rehearse them, get them down, and then let's go track.
So I want to do something fun here that's a little different, because I think I get asked a lot, you guys are doing these songs and that songs, and who are the influences? So what I want to do, because I think what's going to happen here is when everybody hears the collective influences of this group, they're going to go like, wow, that makes no sense. But we'll start with Mr. Fancy. Your biggest influences growing up that got you where you are so far?
As a bass player?
Is whatever, man.
Okay. Maiden, Dio, Sabbath, Motley, Dokken, Rat, Autograph, all that stuff. And then throw in Jaco Pastorius, Jeff Berlin, and some jazz cats that I can't play at all, but I love watching guys that can rip that stuff.
Okay, so there you go.
Anything in between, really, anything between metal and gospel.
So that's super like interesting. So super interesting. So Mark, I'll throw that out to you.
Sure. Well, I mean, first for me is the Beatles. Like that's since I was a kid, they've been my number one.
That's a good one.
But yeah, it's so rare to find someone who likes the Beatles. But I also love Dio and Rat, like all that stuff. When I was, a teenager, that was the stuff. But I've always gone back to the Beatles as my number one, and Led Zeppelin, like 70s stuff. Like towards the later part of the 80s, where like the stuff that Sean really loves. At that point, I was kind of going back and listening to the Beatles and Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin because I wasn't enjoying the songs. I didn't think the songs were as great then, but I still love all the early 80s stuff a lot. Like I still listen to Rat and Dio.
Oh yeah, well, and I hear it. I mean, like Eric Carr from Kiss. I mean, obviously Kiss is a huge one for me. Dokken, Striper, Bon Jovi's huge for me too. Motley Crue kind of used to, like they were, but anyway, and Quiet Riot was another big one.
After that, they lost me.
Well, yeah, and I can't handle Tommy Lee's nonsense anymore. But that's for another day. Darren, I'll throw it to you, bud.
Wow, geez, a whole bunch. So going way back, believe it or not, on keyboards, Van Halen was actually one of the reasons I started playing. I mean, I took piano lessons for years, but it's like, nobody wants to hear classical piano. But then when Van Halen started putting synths in, I was like, wow, that's cool. And of course, Rush started throwing synths in. So, but yeah, Styx, Bon Jovi too. Even Elton John, Billy Joel. I mean, I love some of their stuff. And I got influenced later on by Dr. John, who plays some stuff that I thought there's no way I'm ever going to play that. In my last band, we actually played Such a Night, I was really happy when we got that tune down. I don't remember how to play it now, but like his stuff was really cool. So man, just awesome. Really cool stuff.
Mr. Dalmont.
Well, I was a Kiss baby. My babysitters brought over Kiss when I was 6 years old, and that was it. Then it was AC/DC, and then someone told me about this Def Leppard album that was AC/DC but better, called High and Dry, and then it was like the whole world just kind of went boom, and I bought everything from A to Z. Like, as you know, if it was like, oh, we need a song to play, Peter probably has it, and we would learn it.
Well, you were the only one with the job, so we had to
that's right. I went through a long period of not playing records. So here's the one that's going to probably knock everybody on their socks. So Miss Ryder, quickly, your influences.
You guys all hung around in packs with the cool kids, so your influences were because of some of your friends as well. I spent a lot of time alone, and I started working really, really early, so there was never anyone telling me what I was listening to wasn't cool. I developed a taste for just about anything, but when it came to singing, I would, Alan Parsons to build my lower register, the really low stuff. And Olivia Newton-John, everything in between. I loved Roberta Flack and Stevie Wonder, and of course, Aretha. I love jazz standards. I love Motown. I love blues. I love rock. I love some country, not the twangy, depressing stuff. Life's depressing enough. But pretty much anything, the really thrashy metal doesn't catch me so much, but I'm up for any. Well, I hurts my throat to listen to them do that.
The Cookie Monster.
But I love everything. Like I really do love so many different types of music.
I'm going to end on this because I think the Colonel's Secret 11 Herbs and Spices came out because what you're basically seeing is 4 guys who were, well, 3 guys that were hair metal meatheads, 1 guy that had a little bit of taste with the Beatles, another guy that had a whole lot of taste with some other stuff, and a singer that actually got enough well-rounded that she developed a range that few people can attain to. So that, my friends, is Michelle Ryder and Side Hustle. And on that note, thank you for watching Eastlink Community TV. Thank you guys for doing this.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Nighty night.
See ya.